Is Romelu Lukaku fit for tomorrow night? And if he is, would you consider playing him given the speculation surrounding Inter Milan?
No, he's not fit, so he won't be available, no. So that answers the second one as well.
Has there been a change in the status of that, though, in terms of Inter Milan being in town and Romelu Lukaku and Manchester United being in town? Do you anticipate him still being a Manchester United player when we get to perhaps Shanghai?
Yeah, I don't have any updates from last time I spoke to you, so yeah, I do.
Can I ask you about positive things then about fitness? Obviously, Luke Shaw missed out and David De Gea's not played yet on tour. Any updates on both of those, Ollie?
Yeah, I think both will be available. Luke did a decent training session yesterday and before we left, and David's probably well enough to train today, so we'll try to get, if it's 60 or longer, out of him. Shouldn't be too difficult, does it? It's a keeper.
Hi, Ollie. Fred and Matteo Darmian out here. What are you looking for from them for the rest of the tour?
But today, obviously, we're going to have to see where they're at, because they've been training back home, and Fred's been back over in Brazil and had his wedding and got married. So he's got loads of energy, and I'm sure he's keen to join in.
Hi Oli, welcome to Singapore. Were you surprised by the reaction, or were you taken aback at the hotel, for example? There were hundreds of fans, and what do you make of it?
It was a fantastic reception, and I was here in 2001, so I expected the fans to be outside the hotel and inside the lobby, so always when we travel to meet the fans, it's fantastic, and hopefully we can play a decent game tomorrow as well.
Ollie, you've been away a couple of weeks almost now. How are you looking at this pre-season? Is it a success for you? What are you doing to lift the spirit after the disappointing end to last season?
I think so far we've had loads of positive and encouraging moments. Games, of course, it's a part of it. It's stepping stones. Tomorrow night will be another stepping stone, a little bit more harder opposition. And we've all got through it more or less, everyone so far. Luke's missed a couple of days, Anthony 1 day, but Romelu's the one who's missed the most. So it's been good, very encouraging. We're working on a few things that I think we've started well. Yeah. Wait.
Yeah.
Hi, Ollie. On Fred. Can you tell us a little bit about the troubles he had last season in terms of settling into English football and what maybe you're expecting of him this season? I mean, does his game suit English football?
Well, I think you're not surprised when a player from Brazil that's played in Ukraine finds it a little bit hard in the beginning, but we know the talent is there. We've seen towards the end of the season what Fred can give us, the PSG game, the Arsenal, Man City, and of course he's one that we hope is going to take another step this season. Hopefully this missing 10 days of our pre-season won't set him back too much.
Hi Oli, Soil from Bubble Singapore. How confident are you in winning the Europa League this season, and what are your plans on with the kids such as Tahith Chong, Angel Gomez and Daniel James for the upcoming season?
We see Europa League as a great opportunity to both give youngsters playing time, but also it's a chance to win a trophy. Of course, last time we were in it, they won it, and it's a way to qualify for the Champions League as well. But in cup competitions, you can't just rely on we're going to win that one. We're going to go all out to try to win it, of course, because it's a big trophy.
Nemanja, how do you look back on last season, both individually and as a team? Because it feels as though neither you nor the team reached the kind of levels that you would have expected to.
Yeah, it was not a good season for all of us, as we know. Our target on the end was to play Champions League, but we didn't make it. So we know that this season we have to do better. we have to do more, because when you play for Man United, you have to fight for trophies, and we know that very well. So we expect this season to do better. Every one of us, and I'm sure that we will be ready for every challenge. Yeah, last season I had some problems with injuries, but of course I was not happy with my form. As you know, we finished sixth on table, and I'm not happy. But this season I start pre-season with the team, and we will see. At the moment I feel great, and I hope I will continue to train hard and to try to help the team.
Hi, Ollie. The other night you got away with a press conference without being asked about incoming transfers, so it's about time I ask if there's any updates.
Well, as I've said, I've answered a few times that we're working on one or two cases, and of course, but my obviously objective here now, when I'm here, we've got to get ready for the games and training sessions, and if I've got to travel somewhere, I will, and you probably won't be able to ask me.
Ole and Nemanja, welcome to Singapore. Ole, the last season, the top two were miles ahead of everyone. Do you think that was a one-off, or do you expect this to be the norm for the next few seasons, where Liverpool and Man City dominate the Premier League? And what will it take for a club like Manchester United to get to that level? Thank you.
Premier League is a very competitive league, and what those two teams did last season was exceptional. To get 97 and 98 points, I don't think that'll happen again, and I think we'll see a closer race this season. There's 6 teams there that you can say will want to challenge for Champions League places, but there's also 1 or 2 underneath that would like that one. But our aim is we have to focus on ourselves. We have to be better, improve, make sure Man United is our only focus, and I'm sure we'll get closer to the top.
Hi, Ali. So Manchester United is a club that has always had strong Asian links with players like Park Ji-sung and Shinji Kagawa. So are there any plans for the future for United to have an Asian player, and how important are these Asian players for United?
Of course, we're always on the lookout for good players, and there's I have to say I've been impressed with a few. So we do have players in that we're watching and following, and when we feel players are ready, we'll try to maybe make them come to Man United.
Ollie, you've obviously spoken a lot about your attack in recent weeks, but just on Anthony Martial, United supporters have seen glimpses of the talent, but he's yet to be able to consistently deliver over the course of a whole season, the last couple of seasons at least. How big a year is this for him now? And he isn't one of the youngest anymore. He has got a few seasons. Do you want him to really step up this time around?
Yeah, Anthony can be a world-class forward, and I think if you followed Anthony the last few seasons, I think the way he's come back to pre-season now, and that's Nemanja as well in training, his attitude's absolutely spot on. And there's a couple of instances that you can see a new Anthony in the way that he works for the team. I think he's always got the quality, talent. He's going to score goals, and the work rate's improving. So I expect him and Marcus, the two of them, to be even better than last season. Of course, Anthony had a top season when he came, his first season, top scorer. Then he's had a couple of seasons then when he's not really hit those amount of goals and quality. So I'm sure we'll see a better Anthony this year.
Hi, Ollie. PP supporter from China. How Ander Herrera's place will be filled in the midfield? What do you think?
We're working on putting a squad together that can compete. Of course, we have some youngsters, but we have loads of players who can play and loads of ways that we can play. Maybe it's a slight change of system, for example.
Ollie, hi. You said to us the other day that you were looking to get Paul Pogba playing like he did when you first arrived at the club and back to his best form. Have you seen signs of that in his 2 outings on tour? And is his head in the right place? And is he fully focused? Are you seeing that, what you wanted to see?
I'm looking to get everyone, all the players, to get back to the form that we were when I first came in, because we went on a run 10, 12, 14 games, whatever it was, without losing. So it's not about just Paul Pogba getting back to that form. I think it's every one of us, Nemanja, Anthony, Marcus, all of us, and us as a team together. And the answer to if the focus is right, I think everyone's been spot on pre-season in training and in the games they've played. When they're out on the pitch, I can't fault anyone. When we've got meetings, they're more proactive in meetings, and I've been very encouraged, as I've said a couple of times.
And Nemanja, hi. Anders' departure has just been mentioned, and Marouane's gone as well. So how important is your role on the pitch and also off it, bearing in mind you're surrounded by a lot of players who are still getting to grips with playing for Manchester United?
Yeah, it's on my position is very important to talk to the teammates, especially me as I'm one of the more experienced players. And yeah, I'm trying to do that exactly, and I think that this pre-season we are training very well. Every one of us, we are trying to give something extra, and me also. So I'm sure that this season we will play much better. If not gonna be enough to win some trophies, I don't know. It's difficult to say now, but I'm quite sure that we will play much better.
Ollie, the first 2 games you played different teams in both halves. You're playing a better team tomorrow. Will you play players for longer, and will we get to see some of the combinations that you may be looking at for the start of the Premier League?
Yeah, we'll give players. Some will 45, some will get 60, maybe up to 70, but it is another stepping stone. So we're not planning to swap all 11 at half-time this time around.
Okay, last 2 questions. Hi, welcome to Singapore.
Thank you.
Would you like to find out what's your first impressions of Singapore, and is it good enough to be a sporting destination in the near future?
Of course. For me, the stadium is fantastic. The pitch is fantastic, and I can only speak for us here. So I'm sure we'll see some good football, and if you can, I'm sure that you can make this place a fantastic place for more sports.
Okay, last question.
Ollie, after the way last season ended, vitally important you start strongly this season. Presumably it won't be helpful if you're entering or approaching transfer deadline without having your squad in place.
It's of course the transfer window will close when the league starts, and the start of the season is important. That's why we've worked them hard. I don't think any of these or many of these players have had a pre-season like this before in the last 2 or 3 years, because there's been championships, and Nemanja is one of them. That's the first pre-season for a little while. So for us, in the first 8 to 10 games, you don't win anything, but you definitely can lose the chance to win things. So for us, the start, the first, say, 2 months is vital.